So these are the things on my desk that I worked on prior to. So I had some yellow. I wanted the light background. This is some actual weeds from my yard because the only thing blooming are the weeds pretty much. This is some leaves that I found that were blooming. I liked this little, and this was this very sad now looking daffodil. I really wanted to work with this daffodil, but I realized I probably should have dried these. I think they would have come out better. Here's another daffodil. I think, again, it would have come out much better had I dried it. I really liked this one. I feel like these look like they're an x-ray almost. I left my plate quite grungy, and I really love the way that came out. So I didn't bring more daffodils with me because they didn't really come out all that great. So I figured I'd work with the leaves and some other things. These were just some background papers that I made, and this is, we're going to do a little bit of this. And this is the pre-pulling of the daffodil. So it leaves this white mark on your page. I never throw these things away because you can use them in your journals in multiple ways. You could do multiple things with these. So I just saved these. So let's get started. So this is my plate. I have my brayer here. I have some bubble wrap, some cardboard for stamping. I have these leaves that we're going to try. These leaves came off of a monstera plant. This is actually my husband's monstera plant, and I tried rooting the leaves. That didn't work, but I do have stems rooted. And then these leaves I found in my yard. So I like these. I actually like these with the paint on them. So I have these. So that's what we're going to play with. Did I show you the weeds? So that's what we're going to play with. And I'm going to just start. So I think I'm going to pick some yellow, even though I'm talking about blue. We want something for a background, and usually these light colors are much better for a background for our I just saw your comment, Laura, about Mercury retrograde. There you go. That's pretty funny. I forgot about that. So I like starting with this lighter color, and I'm going to stand so that I can get a better grip here. So that's how I start. I want to make some prints here. So I'm going to just do something like this. And before it dries, I'm going to do something like this. And then I'm going to decide, I'm going to put my leaves down. I like to put them with the veins, the undersides down. And I think they come out better this way because they create something on the plate. Because the veins are prominent as opposed to receding. So I just take this and I'm just pushing with my hands, just making sure it makes good firm contact on the plate. I probably should have done this. I shouldn't have done the leaf layer yet. I probably should have done that next, but that's okay. This way I can show you what happens. So there's some good green left on here. So this is a good pre-layer. Now I'm going to lift these up carefully. And I'm careful when I pick this up because I don't want to lift off any of the paint that's on there. Now I'm just going to kind of let this dry for a moment, and I am going to pick a blue. Because that's what I want to print. Now it's quite warm up here. So it's 77 degrees here today. It's quite warm up here. I'm just going to touch to see how dry this is. That seems dry. It's quite warm in the office and I've got the lights on. So the plate dries rather quick that way. So now, again, I'm working with the blue because I'm thinking about my thyroid problems this week. Now, hopefully these are solved or about to be solved. I have a new medication my doctor gave me, which is fabulous. So I'm just going to put this down and then lift it, and we're going to see what comes out. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's an underactive thyroid, and internally, it feels like anxiety when you, for whatever reason, I've never understood this. But I actually always thought that I had anxiety, but it's really the thyroid misbehaving, if you will. So some of the things that I think about doing when I'm not feeling well are I think about eating and what I need to do for my eating. Oh, there might not be enough of a contrast here, but I don't hate this. All right, we're going to start again. We're going to do another one. So I think about, I'm going to change colors. I think about how I want to eat, an autoimmune protocol, because it's really about a lot about inflammation. So the autoimmune protocol diet is very similar to, sorry, I hate those sounds. It's very similar to doing the, what is it, Mediterranean Italian diet that they tell you to do. It's just basically good veggies and good, I have to clean this off because this is really peeling and it's a mess. So good veggies and good meat. So that's pretty much what I turn to. So I know that, for instance, Brazil nuts are really good for the thyroid. They have selenium, and selenium is something you need for your thyroid. So that's a good place to begin. So I do all those. I think about soups and soothing foods when I feel like this. Foods that are nourishing and feel yummy to eat. All right, I'm going to just do this and this again. And I'm going to do the corner. Okay. So now I meant to cut my paper in half so I could have two halves of it. So the other thing I do, so sometimes people ask me, what do you write about? Sandy, you have Sjogren's, so do I. Wow. Yes, I do think, I absolutely positively do think it's a relapse. My doctor says things like Epstein-Barr virus, which I definitely have. It comes and it goes. That's the nature of it. And I also have Lyme disease, contributes to this. And, you know, I've since gotten, quote unquote, rid of the Lyme disease, but the Lyme disease also will come back at times like this, apparently. Okay, so this is my background now. Now I'm going to do a layer for the leaves that I want to do. And I wanted this blue, I think. So I do think it's a relapse, and I think it comes and goes. I think emotions play a role in it and seasonality. So for whatever reason, I don't know about you, but I am, if I'm going to be not well, this time of year in the spring tends to be the year that I'm going to, or the time that I'll have something happen. It's not always true, but maybe it's seasonal, maybe it's cyclical of some sort. Okay, so I'm going to try these leaves. And again, I'm going to lay these down right side up. So this would be the right side of the leaf here. And then I'm going to pick some of these dying weeds from my desk. And I'm going to put some of these here. And then I'm going to pick a scrap piece of paper. So maybe this one. And I'm going to lift these first. Then I'm going to lift what's left there on that yellow sheet. So now I'm trying to rub around the leaf so that we get those cutouts. So you can see it's bumpy here, right? So this is why this is just scrap paper, but you certainly can use these later on for journal paper. Okay, this is clearly, this dried very quickly. You can see this here. But that's all right. I don't hate this. I absolutely, positively love this. Now, typically, because this is dry, I'm going to do it different. Typically, I would have been able to lift this and have the yellow show on the background. But this is quite dry. And it's probably because I'm yabbering and we're talking. So, anyways, yes, I think these autoimmune diseases just crop up and we never really know why. One of the best things, though, that I've ever learned or done was to keep my gut health in really good shape. And this fall, winter, whatever it was over Christmas, I had an ear infection that I could not get rid of for months. And now they only give, like when my kids were little and you had an ear infection, they gave you an antibiotic, an oral antibiotic. But now they give you an ear drop that is an antibiotic. So I had 3 rounds of that ear drop and it never got better. So they told me I had to go on an antibiotic. And it was a really bad ear infection that I didn't even know that I had, believe it or not. How crazy is that? So the antibiotic messes with your gut health. And I do believe that that causes also imbalances in our systems. I love this. So now, not necessarily what I wanted to do because I wanted this to be my background with the blue, but you have to roll with the punches, and especially on camera, it's, like I said, very warm. It is 77 degrees and it's probably 80 degrees in my office, to be quite honest. It is very, very warm up here. So you have to play with these a little bit. That's where I was going with that. And so some might say that's not perfect, but I really kind of like this. A lot of things you can do here. If you didn't like all this and you didn't want to use this in your journal, like I would cut this out and glue this in, but you could cut around the leaf and the weeds here. These were cute little white flowers earlier that kind of look like baby's breath that have tuckered out in the heat up here. I'm going to have to figure this out for the summer because this particular room doesn't really have air conditioning. The rest of my house does, but this one doesn't. But you know, they're kind of cool looking. So this is pretty much shot. So I don't know, maybe we'll try doing something with this poor little daffodil. Again, I think the key here would have been for me to dry these, you know, press it, do a pressed flower situation, and then it would have worked really nice. But let's play with it and see what we can come up with. So, oh, Laura said that's satisfying. You know what, Laura? It really is, isn't it? I'm going to try this. It's a little dark for me. Let's go back here. I'm rethinking this. I'm going to do a little green with it. I'm going to mix it. Okay. So now I'm mixing the colors so it will kind of lighten it a little bit. Now sometimes like this, I can feel it. My brayer is floating on top, so that's really, really too much paint. So you want to be cautious and just roll some off if you can feel it. And then don't do that. Although that was a cool little print I had there that I just went over. Okay. So I am going to, let's try the daffodil. I'm not sure it's going to look like a daffodil, but let's try it. Then I'm going to put some leaves around it this way. Now, I'm not worrying about, is this all centered? You guys know me, right? I don't worry about that because I can cut it out later. I can make it look better later. And then I'm going to do this. Okay, so now I'm going to do a test. I mean, the first pull. And that's just to get the leaves and flowers pushed into the paint so it leaves the imprint on the paint. And to pull up what's around the leaf and the flower. It's what will give it definition when we do the next print. So I'm going to pull this up. And you can see, now not all of it lifted, but that's okay. So it just leaves this white impression. Wow, I cannot believe how quick that's drying. That paint is really drying quick. So again, the best laid plans, but you have to be able to roll with this gel plate stuff because this is how it rolls. A hot day will cause it to dry super quick. And if it's dry, you can't lift it with paper if it's dry. So can you see, can you see that I'm rubbing my fingers? That's how quick it dried. I just want to make sure this is dry. Oh yeah, that's dry. Okay. So now I'm going more gently, use a small, a little bit of paint. You don't want to you can almost see that image right through this paint, and that's perfect. And I'm going to go quick because, as we know, Things are drying quick. And if that paint's dry, I won't be able to peel it. So I'm not messing around. Now, there are extenders you can add to your paint. So if you're home and it's super hot or you're in the desert or something like that, there are paint extenders you can mix in with your paints and it will not dry as quick. So there are solutions to this. But sometimes, sometimes you got to go with what you got. So there was this little piece of stem on here, and you can see it left that little white mark. I don't lose sleep over these. And the contrast is kind of off here. So you don't get a really good, you can't really probably see that too well. So next time I would do a much lighter color. All right, let's do one. Let's do one and see if we can get it right. Let's do the darkest color here. So let's lift off any of the leaf. There we go. And I'm just going to do some green. Then I'm going to quickly lay down the well, that's not what I wanted to have happen. And I'm going to quickly lay down some images. And I'm going to try not to even take too long with them. Because we don't want it to dry. Since we absolutely know that it's drying quickly. Again, this is a scrap piece because we want the under layer. When the leaves come up, we want that to be it is perfectly imperfect, right? I love that. So back to my conversation about our gut health. I find that if we eat more like that Mediterranean, now I eat keto most of the time. So within the keto realm, the Mediterranean diet, I don't eat pasta, beans, none of that. And I am truly affected by that. I also have celiac, so I'm gluten-free. That seems to all go along with these things, these illnesses or whatever. Okay, so now this time I'm going to let that dry a little bit and clean off my brayer with a baby wipe. Baby wipes rule. If you like baby wipes, leave me a comment in the art world. Actually, you know what? So we camp. I take baby wipes with me everywhere I go because they're very handy for a lot of different things all around the camper and everything else. Okay, I'm going to put, while that dries, I'm just going to put my lids on so I don't lose my paint. Now, I'm going to take this lighter paint, or maybe I'll do this one. I think this one. Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure it's dry. Okay, again, you want enough paint. That might be a little bit light. We might be adding a little bit to it. But not too much. And you'll get used to, as you work with your gel plate, you learn what's good for the size gel plate you have. And you want to be able to see the second layer when you're doing something like this. You want to be able to see what's underneath. That's good. So I'm just going to quickly pull. because we all know that these will dry quickly today. Okay. Now, there are plenty of people now, by the way, that leave these to dry overnight sometimes when they're pulling their images off their plates. Now you can see, okay, so this is not blue like I wanted to work with, but I love this. So what I love most about this is the way this comes out and the way that the veins of, you can use any plants you find in your yard. Please don't use poison ivy or anything like that. My camera kind of tilted out. But you can use any plant leaves, any flowers you find. Again, I think I would have had a lot more luck with the daffodil had I pressed it and dried it. I think it would have been a lot nicer. For next time, we'll remember that. But these to me are lovely no matter what you do. So you can use these exactly like this. If you wanted to, you could cut things out and make a page like a collage by cutting out all your images. You know, and make a plant collage, but I just love this look. I think that it comes out so fabulous. So that's where we're at today. Since it's so hot and since things aren't working out that well, I think I'm going to stop there. Do you guys have any questions?